What is up, my dudes? It is a sunny Wednesday, really great day. I'm excited to take a look at the latest clone coming from China. The amount of iPhone replicas that have been releasing lately, they just seem to be coming out faster and better models all the time is ridiculous. So in this video, we're going to be taking a look at one of the latest models, supposed to be the best iPhone X clone yet, for $150. It really does sound too good to be true. We've already taken a look at some previous models. This one was downright awful. This one was getting better. And there was a third model in there as well. So they are like a little evolution. Like in the time it takes from Apple to release one iPhone to another, there are like 5 iPhone clone models in between. So let's go ahead and take a look at their fastest, sharpest, most feature-packed version yet. And this one is the predecessor to a couple more that are coming out. There's actually some really high-tech iPhone clones coming out from some bigger companies. One of them is a Ligu S9, and they copied the notch and all to try and replicate it. The software is there as well, except it has a chin like a Galaxy S8, but still, it's going to be the best looking iPhone clone. And also there's another model that's copying it to another extreme. So as you can see, the market is ripe for the iPhone clone, but is it a right device for you? I mean, for $150, it doesn't hurt too bad, but let's see what you get for that money. It's usually just really entertaining to see what these guys come up with, to what lengths they'll go to copy Apple. And this latest one, actually on the description, it says a pre-production sample. So this might be the prototype of the iPhone X before it came out. No, not really, but let's take a look at it. Always exciting, always funny to see what these guys can come up with. Of course, they always have to come in this conspicuous packaging. One of them actually got held up by customs. I got it like a month later, all covered in this shady tape. So I feel like they're catching on here. All right. Wow, this one has a little bit of heft to it, and it comes upside down. So the back text is upside down here. 256 gigabytes, iPhone X. All right, let's go ahead and flip the camera so you guys can get a look. All right, and we will be comparing this to the latest and greatest from Apple. So this is the first time I've ever actually used a clone next to the real deal. So we'll really have to see how these do compete. And this is the first time it's ever come in the accurate color matching Apples. This one is going to be a white version. So off the top, already a pretty horrible experience. The box is flipped upside down. It's definitely not sealed in anything. So if you wanted to fool somebody with this, that's already quite hard to do, which is a good thing. I mean, there's no need for them to get smarter. Oh wow, it actually comes with a packet now detailing Face ID. So this version does come with Face ID, wireless charging, well, their versions anyway, so that'll be very interesting to see. And that's it. No stickers, but you do get a little pin tool, which Apple hasn't offered in a very long time. Okay, and here is the device. Wow, all right, so they did improve a couple things on the back that I can see already. I mean, the color for one, and it looks really, really similar here. Now, if you guys didn't know this, Apple actually applies a specific coating to their device to give it this sheen, this very interesting luster, as you can see here, and it looks good. This one obviously doesn't have it, so up close and personal, the differences are there. Also, the camera lens looks pretty good, but Apple does not have a little chrome on the inside around the flash. That might actually interfere with the flash. And as usual, one of the lenses is most likely a dud. All right, so pretty close. The antenna bands are a little bit wider and they're a different shade on the fake one. The button is the same size, so they got that right. It's pretty close, like really, really close here. The buttons and everything, as you can see, pretty close. And the bottom, as you can see, very close there as well. All right, so with the screen off, it's kind of hard to tell, but the screen isn't a perfect reproduction. This one has the advantage of being the fastest. They supposedly put the fastest processor, best display into this thing, has a 1080p display compared to older clones. All right, so let's power it on and see how $150 compares with $1,150. And you can see the display does end there on the bottom, on the top. I'm curious to see if they made any software changes with this guy, hoping that there will be some software differences in here to pick at. Gonna need to charge this up, and I'll be back. And I did want to point out that from the last version, they actually did change a couple of things. As you can see, the text on the bottom is more accurate, in line with what the real one looks like. They don't have the text underneath there, so they wanted to make it as realistic as possible. And the actual camera lens, this attention to detail, I'm very impressed that they fixed. As you can see, it's very jagged and sharp. like the real iPhone 10s is. All right, guys, this is gonna be a lot of fun. Now, I've been using it for a couple minutes now. It booted up. It booted up really quick, surprisingly, for a clone. But this one now has raise to wake. The old version certainly did not. This one does emulate that. There's a lot of changes right off the bat on the lock screen, so they did update it to make it as close as possible to an iPhone 10. On the bottom, the icons are updated. This little legend navigator here has been removed. It now has swipe to unlock text, mimicking the real iPhone. The lock icon is there. The actual positioning on the status bar has been changed for the icons. Definitely getting there. They're improving, much more responsive. So off the bat, just getting into the camera here, look at that. There's no stutter like there is on the old version on the right. And let's go ahead and unlock this and check it out. So as you can see, it does have a very nice animation. It greets you much like the real iPhone and doesn't take a million years to open. And when it does open, as you can see, it does have that really nice subtle animation. So it's definitely feeling a lot more like a real iPhone here. Just scrolling, look at the difference here, guys. That is massive. It is actually smooth and fluid and actually usable as a phone now. I wouldn't be pulling my hair out every couple of seconds on that. Are you serious? Like, oh my gosh. One of the joys of a real iPhone and something they got right now is how fluid it is just to move around, and it feels great, you know. Getting into the spotlight search isn't a bug fest like it is here. And actually they did change some things about that. They put the time on there. You can actually now scroll. So the actual app switcher has been updated, and it now uses the same gesture to bring it up like on the real iPhone 10. On the old one, yeah, it takes a while. On this one, it's a quick swipe and over. And as you can see, it brings up the new pages. So the gestures are now right. These look correct, and you can quickly dismiss them also by swiping up here. Also, when you exit an app, I noticed that it will do that with a very quick swipe up. And it doesn't do this weird thing where it just drops down at the bottom. So when you swipe up, it just goes to the home screen like that. Definitely more subtle, more clean compared to the real thing. The control center, check this out. They did a little house tidying in here. As you can see, it shows the battery icon, the actual stats as it does in the real deal. On this one, it didn't. And you don't have the bar on the bottom anymore. And you can actually close it. This was the frustrating part, by swiping up as you do on the real iPhone. It's not perfect, but it is getting better, I guess you could say. It does have the fake 3D touch in certain areas here. Old one did too. So you can adjust the control. Whoa, wait, what was that? The brightness isn't the same just because it is in here. Oh my gosh. So when you update it out here, it doesn't update in there. Wow, that is lazy code writing. On the home screen, as you can see, you don't have that redundant home button bar. You don't really need it, and the original one doesn't have it. You still do have fake 3D touch, and I didn't notice any improvements here. Funny thing is, the camera icon is still the one pre-iOS 11. So that's the iOS 10 icon on an iPhone 10. And speaking about iOS 11, let's see what firmware this is running. So this one does have the back swipe as well in settings, which is nice. Most clones don't come with this feature, so you can swipe back, which is nice. Let's see what this is running. So 11.2, oh wow, look at that. Yeah, it did get a major software update. This one has 11.0.1. As you can see, even in the apps, the behavior is different. The touch bar is here, so you get a little bit more screen space, and it looks a little bit more like an actual iPhone 10. Of course, you do have that fake bar up there, and this one I noticed is more optimized. You know, it doesn't disappear in certain things. It literally sits there always. This one will reveal its true nature. This imposter will appear at times. This one is always there, so it's almost like it's physically there. It is a software overlay though. They're just getting better. On the bottom, you can see the corners are rounded to give it an impression of being an iPhone 10, and they're a little bit more rounded on top now in the new version. So they're really trying to mimic the iPhone 10 look here. They did improve the keyboard as well. So as you can see, it looks more like an iPhone one. This one was just a download probably from the Play Store. And you still do not have an app store, obviously, from Apple. This is still the Google Play Store. This is an Android phone underneath it all. Do not be fooled. I know it looks like an iPhone 10, but it is not. It's definitely not an iPhone experience, but it is much better than before. I mean, if you just wanted to buy this thing to fool around with for 150 bucks, it makes a pretty decent Android phone, I'd say. It's not half bad. This one is a lot more responsive than before, closing apps, you know, jumping in, moving around. It's not a lag fest like it is over here. So definitely better on that end. All right, so let's see if the hardware is indeed different, because it does feel a lot faster, but let's see if they were not lying about the processor, because they did say they upgraded it to the fastest one available compared to the last version. I'm gonna run this, probably gonna take a really long time, and I'll be back. All right, and here are the results of that Geekbench score. Pretty abysmal. This one failed on me. They really didn't want you to check on that. On this one, we did get a score here. iPhone 10 running Android 6.0, Apple A11, you better believe it. 1 GB of RAM, and this is using a processor. They said they were not using this thing, so I believe they did lie to me. They said it was a base of 2 gigahertz. This one is 1.3. One processor, quad core. Oh, that's interesting. At least it is a quad core. So pretty terrible. And for some reference here, here's the real deal. So we have a 10 times increase in the single core score and about 9 time increase in the multi-core score. So the difference in price is there as well, about 8 to 9 times. So yeah, you really are getting what you pay for here. 1/10 of the performance of the real deal at 1/10 of the price. Funny how that scales down there. Definitely don't be expecting to play any games or anything hardcore on this phone. You will not be able to. Okay, and I am pleasantly surprised. A score of 24,387, which is double that of the one on the previous clone. So they definitely did improve something hardware-wise. The GPU has certainly improved here. And a little reference here, it's still 10 times, okay, 8 to 9 times behind the iPhone 10. So again, that scales down the price. All right, so last thing remains, I want to check out the Face ID and wireless charging options here. I actually wouldn't be surprised if this is faster than this one. All right, so let's try and add a face here. That's it. That's all it takes, is literally like a few seconds and you are added onto there. Okay, so let's test it out. And okay, so that's not as fast as I thought it would be. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I jumped the gun there. Definitely not as fast as Apple's. I don't know why it's being a little finicky right now, but it does work. It's just pretty dang slow while doing it. All right, and wireless charging. Let's see how this works. I believe the last version had it as well, so it does work. You set it on in the right position, it does go to charging right away. So that's kind of cool. You are able to wirelessly charge this. I don't know if it's going to be any faster than standard charging. So there it is, guys. Features wise, they have updated it. Software wise, it's been improved. It's got wireless charging, Face ID, faster, slightly faster processor. What more do you need for $150? Very last thing, as is tradition, let's take a look inside here. I bet I don't even need any tools to get in here. Literally about to pry it open as is. Hey, I just took apart my iPhone 10 with a knife. How do you guys do it? Is there a proper way to do this? Hopefully it's not made of glass this time around. Nope, still plastic. Oh man, they got a lot of adhesive on it this time. So they improved it so it doesn't peel off as easily as last time. All right, going. Oh, shite. So that actually is real glass. Oh my gosh. I'm lucky I didn't cut myself there. Wow, they did change the internals. That is for sure. Wow, that is so surprising. I did not think that was actually made of glass. I've never had a clone be made with premium, or seen it be made with premium materials before. As you can see, they did change the internals a little bit. The wireless charging pad is off to the side now. That's very tidy for a clone. Oh my gosh. Wow. All right, so I done goofed there, but they did improve this thing a lot over the last version. If you guys want to upgrade the SD, you can do that, but be careful. This is glass now, no wonder. Oh wow, and I just realized they copied the 3D touch right there. Last thing I wanted to show you guys is the camera, because I didn't test that out yet, but more than likely that is a dud and not a real one there. Alrighty, so out here in the wilderness, testing out this dual lens setup. Now they say in the settings that it's 1080p 30 frames per second. I highly doubt that. It's upscaled 480 maximum. I mean, it's blotchy, grainy, colors aren't looking great. For comparison, there's an iPhone 10 for you. 9-day difference. So I think they lied about the camera. Processor certainly was true. I can tell this one not improved much, and the lack of stability, optical image stabilization definitely is apparent. So horrible camera, decent calling and texting phone, I guess. So if you guys were hoping to get some Oscar-worthy shots with this guy,
not gonna happen.
So pretty awful camera, and that is no surprise because they always are, but just wanted to say thanks for watching, guys. One of the most interesting clones I've seen. Never actually seen one with a glass back. They did a good job though. As a standalone Android device, I would say for $150, it really isn't bad. I'm sure you can find better out there, but this gives you the advantage of making people think you have a very expensive phone. So think about that for a second. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed it. This was a lot of fun to make. They are getting better, and with the new ones, the LEGO S9, they will get very, very good. And I'm very excited to review that one down the road. Stay tuned, guys. Peace.